anyway, I have just a little more here of analysis. I'm heading into New Hampshire now as people start predicting, prognosticating, analyzing, and so forth. Actually, there's much more to go here. I'm going to be bouncing off people on the phones and some of the audio sound bites that we have from candidates and media types. Hopefully I get a new beta today to fix my battery life problem, but my fingers are not crossed on that. But I'm totally focused here, folks. Don't sweat it. The week ahead in New Hampshire, looking at the polls, trying to analyze what happened in Iowa poll-wise versus what's said in New Hampshire to happen versus what might happen. It's fascinating to listen to people tear it all down and break it apart, try to analyze it and tell you what it means. And there are a lot of people who think they have all the answers on this stuff. And I think a lot of them are all wet as I listen to them, not necessarily to mention names. But we'll get to the rest of this as the program continues and unfolds before your very eyes and ears. So hang in there and be tough. Your turn's coming up soon. Let's look at New Hampshire. New Hampshire's next. Iowa is in everybody's rearview mirror. No offense, Iowa. New Hampshire is next. 1 week from today. The New Hampshire primary, 1 week from today. The Real Clear Politics rolling average there has Trump way out in front of Cruz and Kasich. Those are the closest competitors in New Hampshire by nearly 22 points. The Real Clear Politics rolling average in Iowa had Trump up 4. There were 13 polls that had Trump winning yesterday by 4. And they all missed it. Now, the Real Clear Politics is a website, and they average a bunch of major polls. And that average now has Cruz and Kasich trailing Trump by 22 points. Trump's lead, aside from a couple of outliers, Trump's lead in New Hampshire has not been in single digits since October. Stated another way, Trump has had a double-digit lead in the rolling average of polls in New Hampshire since October. So, what's going to happen? The 4-point lead that Trump had ended up being a 3-point defeat, right? So you call it a swing of 7. Good way, fair way of looking at this. They had him winning by 4. He loses by 3. So it's a swing of 7. So let's say, okay, he's at 22, a 22-point lead. Does that make it 15 or 16 in reality? Well, I don't know. Some people are going to try to analyze it this way. But is Trump going to blow? Can what happened in Iowa result in Trump blowing a 22-point lead? Can a 22-point lead become a 1, 2, or 3-point loss next to, you say not very likely. Well, I'm here to tell you that as we sit here, do not be shocked and surprised if later in the week you're watching TV, don't care which network, a bunch of mainstream drive-by analysts tell you that it's going to happen. The anti-Trump fervor, the hatred, the dislike, however you want to describe it, is so profound. And this is not news to you, but it's so profound, so deep in the Republican establishment. Don't forget, these people have believed, hoped, dreamed, whatever, Trump was going to implode back in August. And then he was going to implode at the end of August. He's going to implode Labor Day. He's going to implode on the opening day of the NFL. He's going to implode on September 30th. He's going to implode on Halloween. And he didn't implode, didn't do anything, just grew and grew and grew. They've been hoping and praying. They've been at their wits' end. They've been, what can we do? All these people have hung in this race with the belief that Trump's going to blow this somehow, or that people are going to wake up and realize that Trump's not who he says he is, and they're going to abandon him. Something's going to happen. Well, I'm here to tell you that people are going to take this result last night and say that's what it means. They are going to say something along the lines of this. hey, look, Trump was all hype from the get-go. Trump is nothing but win, win, win. Going to win so much, you're going to get tired of winning. You're going to ask me to lose some, and I'm going to say, I don't know how to lose. I'm Donald Trump. Win, 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 win. Okay. Pedal to the metal. Rubber hits the road. Didn't win. They're going to say that lets all the air out of the balloon, and it's going to come plunging back down to earth. And people in New Hampshire, everybody wants to be with a winner. The people who are giving Trump this 22-point lead are going to look what happened in Iowa. This guy's a phony. That wasn't, oh, my God, I can't hang around with a loser. And they're going to leave Trump. This is what? It's already being stated by some people out there. I can't remember the names. I was up late last night watching as much of this stuff as I could because I knew that this result last night was going to create its own new set of narratives that it consists of things nobody knows what they're talking about, just like we had to deal with prior to yesterday. So there's that theory. The other theory is that Trump can't handle personal rejection and he's going to blow it. He's going to go out there and he's going to start insulting people that he thinks are responsible for his loss, and he's going to embarrass himself. There's any number of scenarios where Trump now doesn't win a single primary, Mr. Snerdley. And if you look in the right places on the web and you search a lot, you'll find it already. And there's all kinds of gloating out there. Now, the candidates are not gloating. Like Cruz isn't gloating. And Rubio isn't gloating. No, it's the establishment types. You might have some of the Jeb consultants out there gloating. I think they've got a new breath of life. What did I see? Jeb spent $25,000 a vote. Is that right? That's off the top of my head. I could be wrong about it. Maybe it's $2,400 a vote. I forget which. Whatever. So let's stay in New Hampshire for just a second here, folks. Trump's double-digit lead, 22 points over Cruz and Kasich. Rubio is not in the top three in New Hampshire. If there is a commensurate fade for Trump in New Hampshire, like there was in Iowa, it might make that 22, 23-point lead a 15 or 16-point lead. I mean, if things are commensurate, which they probably won't be. I mean, just because something happened in Iowa does not mean the identical thing is going to happen in New Hampshire. If it did, it would mean Cruz would win. And don't forget, there's all kinds of other things. You could say, well, hey, Reagan didn't win Iowa, went on to win 2 landslides. The retort people have, Cruz isn't or Trump isn't a Reagan. But it still happened. Reagan, he didn't do the last debate. He didn't do a debate in Iowa either, for whatever reasons. Went on to lose Iowa, won New Hampshire, ran table practically, or not ran, but won the nomination and won the presidency in a landslide. Well, people always find points of time in history where they think are indicators of the president. So New Hampshire, like Snerdley just said, how in the world do you lose a 22-point lead? You can't. Not in a week. You can't lose a 22-point lead. The only way, Mr. Snerdley, you can lose a 22-point lead in a week is if you've never really had it. And that is what the anti-Trump people are counting on. That the polling data on Trump is like everything else with Trump in their minds, hype and spin, not real. Many people hoping that. Now, after New Hampshire comes South Carolina. And as you go further, Trump's leads get bigger. In South Carolina, his lead is almost as big as it is in New Hampshire. So now, what would be the best thing to happen in your mind? Should some of these guys that we know aren't going anywhere get out? Should Christie get out? Should Kasich get out? Should Jeb Bush get out? I was going to say Rand Paul, but Rand Paul might show halfway decent in New Hampshire. Should they get out? Should their voters be free to coalesce around somebody else? Because these people divvying up the vote this way is not helpful. It's not helping answer any questions. It's not furthering the decision. Other people want them to stay in because the more establishment people that are in there to split the establishment support this time around is what they want. People are sick and tired of 10,000 conservatives in the race with one moderate rhino, and the 10,000 conservatives split the conservative vote and end up losing to the one rhino. Well, now it's possible that you could have a majority of people still in the race be rhino moderates who will split their money and support, water it down, thereby focusing more votes and support for the conservative candidates in the race. So theories can go either way on what do you think ought to happen with people in the race. I think, I don't know if you're going to have a lot of mass exodus prior to New Hampshire, because so many people like Christie, Kasich, Rand Paul, New Hampshire was their firewall. New Hampshire was where they were going to make their mark. They knew they were never going to do anything in Iowa. Which, by the way, is what Trump is saying. Hey, I wasn't even supposed to go. My advisors, my support, but don't go to Iowa. Iowa's just not your place. He said, I got to go. I got to go to Iowa. I love people. Iowa love people. People in Iowa love me. I got to go. I got to go. No, Mr. Trump, it's not your place. Sacrifice it. Spend your time and money elsewhere. Don't go to Iowa. But I had to go to Iowa. So he's trying to construct the scenario that he spend as little time there as any candidates, hardly any money, and still finish second. Major achievement. Who else could have done what I did? I go into a place that I had no business being. Nobody told me to go to Iowa. I insisted going to Iowa because I love the people of Iowa, but everybody with the smart said, don't go, don't go. So I didn't spend much time there. I didn't spend a lot of, and I still finished in second place. As far as I'm concerned, it's a grand slam victory. That's how Trump's playing it. So it's fascinating stuff to watch here, folks. And Huckabee's gotten out. But, yeah, Huckabee's gotten out. True. I was going to say something impolitic. He wasn't in it? Okay. Huckabee wasn't in it. Fine, we'll leave that as it is. He's. What you mean is he was never going to be a contender. How do you explain Santorum winning 4 years ago and getting whatever he got last? How do you explain that? Right. Well, who worked the state? Right, but what happened to him this time? If he worked the state 4 years ago, okay, so Cruz did the full Grassley, came in and worked. All right, see, that's why you think Santorum went from winning it to last place. That's not, electability. There's a lot of factors in it. But at the top, you've got to throw in what Cruz did. Cruz had the organization. This is why even the establishment types who hate Cruz and hate Trump, they're all hailing Cruz's victory because of the way he did it, because what Cruz's victory represents to them is the survivability of politics as a business as they've always known it. What really scared them about Trump was that Trump was going to totally change the way politics is done, the way candidates win. The establishment guys, oh, no, we can't have that. They want it to be the same way it's always been, retail. You got to go in there. You got to shake hands, kiss babies. You got to have a ground game. You got to have hundreds of volunteers making phone calls, getting out of the vote, got to do all that. They were scared to death Trump was going to win without any organization of any kind like that. Cruz wins with the best organization like that of anybody in the state, and the establishment, even though they hate him, giant sighs of relief because they think Cruz's victory affirms their way of doing business. And we will be back. Do not go away.